Thank you, Samir, for that wonderful introduction. And let's get started with this session today. We have eminent panelists here. We are here to discuss the most happening topic today, applications and the capabilities for Gen AI. As you know, this is the most talked after topic. Every CXO has this in their agenda today. Nanda Nilakini says that India will be the capital of Gen AI use cases. Let's try to understand from our panelists as to what's really happening there. Are these use cases just pilots? Are they converting into implementations? EY says at least 20% of these use cases are converting into implementations in this year 2024. I'd like to know from our panelists their own experience of different use cases and what's happening in the industry. Uh, Bhavani, would you want to first tell about how you have seen this evolving?
Sure, Nanda. So first of all, thank you so much for introducing me. And definitely, if I talk about the Gen AI and how it is, uh, the evolution of Gen AI offering, the holds an immense potential in the reshaping the industries across the various sector, be it say automotive, be it any retail sector. But the thing is that use case wise, you can say that it is, I can say it's a very limited at this point because still the industries we are still doing it. I'm coming from a consulting background, being a part of the Capgemini event, where it is, we are doing a R&D on this, how we can, in all the various sector we can work with. And but having said that, some of the strategies definitely as a business we should have to focus on, like how we can, if it's a CPR industry or the retail industry, we can think of the personalized product and service, how we can do a more customer experience or giving a more automation and efficiency. So these are the things that we are currently focusing on to coming up with a more robust use cases or for that across all the industries.
Thanks, Bhavani. Satish, what about you? What's your view about this pilot paradox?
Yeah, today we of course, when we talk about the AI itself, historically there has been a lot of challenges in terms of bringing AI models to the production, and then these numbers has been around 30 to 40% for quite some time. Uh, that has been a challenge even in traditional machine learning models as well. Maybe getting models into the production is has been challenging because data scientists love to work in uh, what do you say, the Jupyter notebooks or maybe the environment where they want to kind of develop things. But later, what happens is to kind of get into the production. There are a lot of things that need to be done. Maybe you need to kind of create the pipelines and then put across the things like applying MLOps, integrated of things. Now, when it comes to the Gen AI, this is even becoming more challenging because many of the customers are not sure about a lot of aspects of Gen AI. They want to try out as a pilots first, and then they want to see what are the benefits we can see. But still, maybe the reliability of the models, because many of the times, depending on, for example, if you are building a bot for the fund managers. They want reliability and then accuracy specific to these models, and then they need to get the accurate answers. But today, there are very limited systems to validate these Gen AI models efficiently. Of course, there are benchmarks, and then there are kind of different metrics to evaluate these models. But again, the scope has been kind of not wider. Now, to evaluate these models efficiently and then maybe take a decision, can we get into production or not, is becoming trivial. So that is where a lot of organizations are trying to apply these generative AI cases first internally. When I say internally, they want to try more of a enterprise search kind of applications. They want to try mainly kind of getting into HR applications internally or marketing kind of applications internally before exposing these models to the outside world. That's where we are kind of slowly seeing the productionization of the models. Maybe, uh, yeah, as you have quoted the stats, around 20%. Yes, that numbers are going, but majorly these are internal facing models or internal facing applications and then very few organizations are going for the customer or client facing applications. And then slowly it's changing, and then also we are kind of seeing evaluation of principles of LLM ops, and then how do we kind of industrialize these models efficiently, and then also moving beyond foundation models to RAG based applications or fine tuning of the models. And then also some of the times you kind of build models from the scratch, task specific models from scratch, and then deploy into the production. So that's a gradual change we are seeing, but there is a long journey it is kind of to take to kind of have all the applications into the production.
Thank you. Raghu, what is your experience in non-traditional industries? Where are these being deployed?
Sure. Thanks, Nanda. Historically, as we all know, BPO or CX space have been using conversational AI, right? There has been chatbots, the voice bots, the virtual assistant for over a decade now. And what has happened is the Gen AI is just a natural next step in the transformation journey where we're seeing organization deploying it in two, three different ways. One, primarily trying to build co-pilot for agents, augmenting and assisting agents to make better, faster decisions through the knowledge library associated to the domain. And we are clearly seeing spikes in some of the fundamental KPIs like the average handle time, the CSAT, the FCR, and the results are there to be seen. Number two, AI coaching. And what I mean by that is when there are obviously thousands of agents, the fundamental role of a supervisor historically is to look at a statistical significant sample of calls, go through the call, listen to the call, and identify specific improvement opportunities. And come Gen AI world, gone the statistical sample. Now you're able to put all the call transcripts together, run through the LLM models, and identify specific tailored improvement opportunities for agents so that coaches can go after those improvement opportunities. And the third one, most importantly, which has been a journey and it's slowly evolving, is kind of automation and AI supervisors. So what I mean is, with AI automating partially or completely the task of what the agents are doing, agents are shifting to become AI supervisors, where their focus is now shifting to be more on continuous improvement and consistency as opposed to the initial mundane tasks. So these are some of the three specific cases where we've already seen Gen AI being used and applied at different maturity level across our CX and BPOs.
Vijayalakshmi, do you want to add something about your experiences here?
Yeah. So when it comes to Gen AI use cases, most of the use cases what Gen AI is applying or we are applying is kind of the standard use cases with little more sophistication to the solution. That's what Gen AI brings to the table. Therefore, all the challenges, whatever we had earlier for AI, is still relevant to Gen AI. But in specific, where I see the power of Gen AI and where we have implemented recently is we used to take information from multiple sources and index and give it to the user as is without synthesizing the information any further to the user. Whereas when we have the capability of Gen AI, we take information from multiple sources, we synthesize that information in a more coherent way through Gen AI, and we are able to give it to the user, which is going to be a very good user experience instead of him looking at multiple sources and its answers. And this, I think, is a very good case for Gen AI, where it gives better user experience as well as it's a non-risky use case as well. And yeah, this is the key thing which I have observed. Otherwise, one other use case which I can think of also is about the database querying. So that has also taken off very well in the organization in a way that you are democratizing the access to the database, to the non-technical users, so that they can query it and have dissect the data for their own problem spaces. So these are the two major areas I see, which is kind of non-risky, and we can integrate it in with the product features.
And Shekhar, you as a consultant, where do you see applications and use cases being deployed?
Yeah. So many industry practitioners are trying to identify their own use cases and application avenues in their respective domains and industries. But one of the challenges that I observed, especially with Gen AI, when compared with the other digital transformations earlier, including the traditional AI, is the evaluation is multidimensional when it comes to generative AI. And especially when it comes to the language related generative AI, like all the GPTs and LLMs that we are talking about, that's even more multidimensional. Now, when clients are trying to think about implementing it as a use case or putting it into the production, it's becoming really challenge for them because they end up evaluating in multidimensional rather than one dimensional sort of thing. For example, if you take it traditional AI, you end up with one metric like a precision recall, F1 score, blah blah blah. But when it comes to the generative AI LLM, you have so many dimensions that you have to evaluate, right? And when the client puts it in the production, something goes wrong. That going wrong could happen in any of the dimensions that needs to be evaluated. So this factor is majorly causing sort of little step back sort of thing. I mean, they want to try with least risky or probably less customer focused sort of situations or scenarios like that, because none of the clients, none of the customers wants to end up in a sort of a conflict or any issue with that. So this is sort of causing the delay in the adaptation. But of course, it's all part of journey as the industry evolves, as the research continues, as the metrics, as the different dimensions that needs to be considered changes. Probably it will take its own time, but nobody can stop it, and nothing can stop it.
Okay. And Girish, as a head of solutions, where do you see yourself, applying this and implementing solutions, creating solutions?
Right. Thanks, Nanda. I think it's wonderful insights which we could hear from our colleagues. So what I see today, while EY says around 20% of the traditional AI solutions are moving into Gen AI, what we see on the ground, right? So every problem statement, people are trying to look towards Gen AI, with a Gen AI solution or Gen AI lens today. So if I take any of the traditional problems, let's say if I'm trying to solve a commercial analytical develop an analytical solution for commercial purpose for a CPG company. The traditional way is, okay, it's a combination of certain BI dashboards and set of analytical model, AI model, which we kind of like combine it together and give a product to a customer. So, but what we are hearing today is, how can I apply a generative AI? Right? So I don't have a time to kind of like go through a multiple dashboard or the many insights what this product is throwing. I really don't have a time or understanding to even evaluate those insights. Can you just summarize and give it to me? Right? So what we see is the traditional problem continue to be there, and what we also witness is adding a generative AI layer on top of it and make it more compressive or from an adaptation perspective. So that is the layer which or that is the kind of like transformation what we are seeing on the ground. In addition to obviously generative AI is also trying to solve some of the use cases which probably we might have struggled in the past. For example, let's say when I talk about the entire workforce management, workforce analytics, so called it, maybe in terms of stitching a very customized learning calendar for individual employee depending upon the capability, or predict an attrition and linking that with some sort of a training. So we see these kind of the use cases also evolving as we go, which probably we might have struggled to resolve through our traditional year. So that is a trend what I kind of like witnessing on day in day out when I talk to this.
Sure, thank you. So, Vijayalakshmi, how important is interdisciplinary collaboration in developing effective Gen AI solutions?
Okay, this is one of the favorite topics for me. The reason being, whenever we start building any data product, in the sense product which is dependent on data and its components, we miss the point that it should be considered as a whole product. It has all the elements of the product, of versioning till maturity. But what happens during the discovery of that particular feature we want to build, we have in the room only people from engineering or AI and product management, and we conceive the feature and go on. What what makes it more relevant and important is to have people from other backgrounds. Here, interdisciplinary, I mean, we should have product design has to be a major part in the workshops, as well as we should have somebody from the marketing or humanities or social sciences background. So their questioning to the problem statement will also help us to evolve the solution. And this I have seen working very well in one of my earlier assignments, where we had a person from in the discovery workshop. We had a person from a non-technical background, and he's from marketing, and his insights to the problem and the way we are conceiving the solution has been very helpful, and that gave me an insight that these people who are from non-technical background, who think problem in a different way, contribute more to the maturity of the solution. And it is becoming all the more important in case of Gen AI, because it has it comes with its own bias in its own models and stuff like that. And proper probing and proper discussion around what the solution we are building from non-technical folks, from people from other background will definitely help us. Um, yeah, I mean, this is my strong feeling that it has to be a highly interdisciplinary and interfunctional. Functional as such we bring in, but disciplines we are sometimes missing to bring in. But if we bring in, we will have a holistic solution.
Absolutely. I think you've rounded it off very well by saying that end of the day, the end user understanding of the solutions is more important than just the technology behind it in designing effective products. Shekhar, when evaluating Gen AI solutions, how do you balance off the trade-off between innovation and reliability, particularly industries where reliability and predictability is paramount? You touched upon it a little bit, but we want to elaborate again.
Sure. I try to explain this topic with the mix of an analogy that we do it in the real time. All the generative AI and every flavor of Gen AI that we are talking about, we are not yet reached the stage of AGI, artificial general intelligence. People are talking, we are there. Few industry leaders are talking, we are there. But the application wise, we are not yet there. So I'm comparing with the human intelligence, and I will try to answer this topic. So if we talk about any of a real-time scenario where this predictability or certainty is of paramount importance, if you think about some consultant, how this consultant is going to happen in the absence of generative AI. As a AI practitioners, we try to replicate the same, and that would be our sort of like a Turing test. If our solutions are able to meet the consultant's behavior, boom, so we are there. So that's the sort of thing we do it, right? Now, with that assumption, if we try to observe how a consultant in a expert or a consultant in a given domain is going to evaluate, wherever there is a certainty is required, definitely the consultant tries to identify the predictability factors. Without predictability factors, he doesn't. So what I was trying to say is, wherever this certainty and specificity is needed in the solutions, we obviously have only one choice. We don't have multiple choices. Identify the certain elements and see how these certain elements can be carried 100% because they are certain. And based on that, on top of that, you will have an opportunity to build the opinions and other creative elements. So that way, what happens is, at the end result that is being delivered, it would be least of the probability. What I mean to say is, when you make the certain as certain, you're eliminating the probability induced in the end solution because of these certain elements, right?
Thank you.
So yeah, so that's how you have to balance it out. And I think that is the only possible way in terms of dealing with these sort of situations.
Thanks. Bhabani, would you want to quickly touch upon regulations and compliance shaping the development and deployment of topical AI solutions?
Oh, absolutely, Nanda. This is a very crucial topic that I can think of, that because regulation and compliance play a crucial role in the shaping the development and the development of the AI across all the industries. If I think of the first thing, that we should have a ethical framework within the organizations or the industries that will take care of the prioritize the safety, fairness, and the transparency and accountability. Because this is a very crucial part of when we are thinking of the ethically how we are deploying the AI technologies. Now, coming to the data privacy and security, if I talk about the GDPR, HIPAA, or the other regulations in the across industries, be it say in the all the industries in terms of the data that we are working on, or specific to the insurance sector that we have a HIPAA, are we there in the data privacy wise? We are all good. We have implementing the right regulations or the compliance in the when before we deploying. So these are the factors always as a across industries and all the leadership and the boardroom, we are discussing that are we are ready and go ahead and deploying it. Same time, we also think about that how we can doing a risk management while doing a regulations part. Like regulations often requires the organizations to assessing and managing the risks across the AI technologies, including the potential biases, be it say safety hazards, or the any cybersecurity threats that we have. Are we dealing with all, and how we are? What is the strategy we are following to do a risk management? Same time, this is some of the other part that we can think of, that how we can do a international harmonization, because AI becomes increasingly globalized. Now efforts to harmonize the regulations across countries are gaining tractions. Harmonized regulations facilitate the international collaboration and trade while ensuring the consistent standard for AI development and deployment.
Thanks,
Now,
Bhabani.
yeah, sure.
Girish, do you want to add some last thoughts before we wind up?
Right. I think the majority of point Bhabani has covered. So one of the area which probably I think we need to focus on, keep an eye open on the specific country regulations. Right. So every country is now coming up with the AI regulation. So while we create organization level ethical code or let's say AI regulation, I think there is a need to look at how we integrate in respective countries. Right. So end of the day, we all work for the global companies. So having integrating with our solutions with the country specific regulations is very, very important. And the second thing is more technical, which is about how do you manage the bias, right? So what we see, the amount of the data, the biasness what we are creating because of the data biasness, right? In terms of the outcome what we are seeing. I think there is a need sort of a technical, the validation to avoid the bias. I think these are the two major points in addition to what Bhabani had pushed.
Thank you all. We've seen that, while there are a number of use cases in the industry, a lot of deployments today are more internal facing rather than customer facing. Of course, from a customer facing perspective, in the field of customer CX, it's definitely customer experience is an area where it's being done. There is a lot on the content creation side and summarization, I guess. But beyond that, Sekhar did speak about the healthcare industry, very valid examples of where this can go. We all agree that right now it's still kind of expert in the loop kind of situation where you want a human to validate because you need to make sure biases are not there. It is a reliable solution that is deployed. And Vijayalakshmi touched upon a very valid point of interdisciplinary collaboration to really make these solutions successful and wholesome in that sense. So thank you all, and I'll hand it back to Sameer now.